Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tamsa Jeevam साधवैतम सावधूतम परिजन सहितम कृष्ण चैतन्य देवम श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमः ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपा तमहं वन्दे श्री गुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरं। हरि ओम तत्सत्। Hare Krishna. So please try to come as much forward as possible and sit. That helps me to have a better eye connection and better connection with you as I speak. As much as possible, please come forward. So welcome back to the Gita course. We are discussing the part 2 of Why Do I Suffer? A root cause analysis. And like all the other sessions, this session is also dedicated to my spiritual grandfather, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. I'm simply trying to repeat what I've learned from him. My only qualification or my only credit here is that I present the message as it is without screwing out some other motivated alternate meaning out of it. Of course, my seniors have taught me how to present this science of Bhagavad Gita based on time, place, and circumstances. By the blessings of my teachers, somehow I'm able to present it based on the kind of audience which is there. But no matter how I present it, I try to be always very careful not to screw out some other meaning out of it, a personal motivation out of it. So before every session, I remind myself, before every activity of the day, I remind myself this point, that the patra has been written. I'm just a patri. I'm just a carrier of the message. The mercy is definitely flowing, but it is not flowing from me, but it is flowing through me. So all I have to do is be a non-short circuit wire which transmits the original energy which is coming from Krishna. Just trying to be a transparent wire medium between the acharyas and you. So I dedicate this session for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada and all my teachers and seniors. And on that note, I begin today's discussion. I will like to discuss something from where I left in the previous session. So, common sense and logical understanding. We are continuing. Before we start today's session, can we spend 5 minutes doing a quick revision? What we studied in the previous session? Why do I suffer? Sorry? Attachments. Okay, what kind of attachments? Attachment to temporary things is the cause of suffering. Okay. Anything else did we study around this point? Anything else? Anything else which you remember? But this much, if you remember, it's more than enough. We don't expect you to become scholars of Bhagavad Gita after these sessions. Yes, that's what we will discuss today. So I'll tell you what is the theme of these classes. It's good to reveal the objective of the classes even before the classes start. As a teacher, the objective which I want to achieve by these Gita classes is not that you become a scholar of the Bhagavad Gita. As a teacher here, my objective is not that you understand the Gita also. Because I know the kind of discussions we have, the kind of exposure you have, the kind of limited time which we have, it's not possible. There are 9 stages of bhakti, and bhakti begins with Shraddha, faith. That is the first stage of bhakti, Ado Shraddha. The second stage of bhakti is Sadhu Sangha, association of devotees. The third stage is Bhajan Kriya. That means sadhana, regularly chanting Hare Krishna, reading the books such as Bhagavad Gita, and having a Krishna conscious diet. That's called sadhana. So my aim via these classes, at least the first stage of these classes, is that all of you should become Shraddhavan. My desire is that all of you should understand completely that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you should have faith in this point that if I serve Krishna, everything else will be achieved. Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kare Sudridha Nishchaya Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Kritahaya. This is called Shraddha. Shraddha means having faith that simply by pleasing Krishna or simply by executing or living a life according to the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, everything else will become perfect and all the activities would have been achieved. Yesterday, I was giving a youth session to some young boys, and I was speaking on the topic, can God make a stone which he cannot lift? So the conversation went into an angle where we were discussing how all the endeavors which we do is ultimately to realize Krishna. The 15th chapter, shloka number 15 of the Bhagavad Gita says, Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto mattah smritir jnanam apohanam cha vedaishcha sarvair ahameva vedyo vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. Krishna says that I am the Paramatma residing in everybody's heart, which means I am the Paramatma residing in the heart of human beings also. They say Black Lives Matter, but Krishna is there in the hearts of the white people also, black people also, brown people also, orange people also, yellow people also. So Krishna is there everywhere. And matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. By his memory or by his influence, someone gets knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. And vedaishcha sarvair ahameva vedyo. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. What is Veda? Veda means knowledge. All the knowledge which you see in this world and also beyond this world is coming from Vedas. You talk about astrology, astronomy, metallurgy, military science, whatever you think of, which the human mind can think or conceive, it's actually coming from the Vedas. Medicine, any kind of subject matter, you see, it's coming from the Vedas. And Krishna says, Vedaishcha sarvair aham eva vedyo. One may be a great, let's say, lawyer, but the science of law comes from the Vedas. Or the concept of law, Artha Shastra, Niti Shastra, logic comes from the Vedas. So if one wants to become a good judge of the Supreme Court of India or a great lawyer, by all his study of law, he should ultimately come to the conclusion that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and I should surrender to him. If somebody is a great chartered accountant, by their chartered accountancy, they should come to the conclusion that Krishna or serving Krishna is the sole purpose of my life. If somebody is a great magician, then by performing all the magical feats, he should understand that Krishna is the greatest magician and I should serve him. That's why Krishna says, Vedaishcha sarvair ahameva vidyo. If somebody is a great doctor, a great business analyst, a great engineer, a great district collector, but after their so-called number of years of study and all those endeavors, if they have not come to the conclusion that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and I should serve him with all my mind, heart, and words, that means the so-called work which they have done in the last 50 years, 100 years, or 2000 years is simply a waste of time. Shrama evahi kevalam. Suppose this wall is there and I stand in front of the wall and try to push it. So I'm not Rajnikant. Nothing is going to happen. Suppose if I continue pushing it for the next 10 hours, what will happen? If I continue pushing it for the next 20 hours, what will happen? Isn't it waste of time and energy? That is called Shrama evahi kevalam. So by all our study, by all our endeavor, by all our economic development, by all our so-called Panchavarshiya Yojanas, if we have not come to the conclusion that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and I should serve him, it is Shrama evahi kevalam. That's why Krishna says, Vedaishcha sarvair aham eva vedyo. Now people will say, why should I trust these Vedas? It is after all written by human beings. And human beings make mistakes. Correct? What are the 4 defects in human beings? I have explained in the previous sessions. Somebody remembers? Sorry? Opulent is being being rich is a mistake. 4 defects in human beings. See, to understand the truth, there are 3. This is a little bit tangent to today's discussion, but for your general knowledge, to understand the truth, there are 3 parts. 3 paths. What are those 3 paths? Pratyaksha praman, Anuman praman, Shabda praman. Pratyaksha praman means I can see. Pratyaksha, it is in front of me. What I see is what I believe. Do you see the electromagnetic rays or waves in this room? That means if they don't exist. Did you see the ghost on that building while coming here? That means it doesn't exist? Maybe, huh? Did you see your child performing all the mischief for which you are getting the complaint? That means your child is not mischievous. So, Pratyaksha Praman is not the right source to get knowledge. Then comes Anuman Praman. Making theories, making analysis. In my opinion, according to me, I feel, I believe, postulates, theorems. This could have happened, that could have happened. Darwin's theory, things like that. So let's all put our phones to silent. Until and unless your phone has the ringtone of a cow, please put it to silent. If you have a cow ringtone, it's good. It reminds us of Vrindavan. So last class, some people were recording that ringtone also. We'll put it. So Anuman Praman is also not correct. Suppose we hear some great noise which is coming from here. Some 2 people are really arguing with each other. Some people will get disturbed by it and say, what are these 2 people fighting? Ask them to stop. Some people will be like, let's hear what they have to say. After all, I have to go out of this place and tell it to others. Let me hear. But then they heard something which is against their thought process. Very bad. Why should they talk like this? So like this, different people will approach it differently. And then the ultimate conclusion is that these 2 people should stop fighting. But when you go inside, you realize nobody is there. It's a television which is switched on. So your whole analysis and whole thought process, theorems, postulates was all wrong. Because you made an Anuman. An Anuman can never be correct all the time. Guesswork. Can guesswork be always correct? What is the possibility or percentage of guesswork to be correct? 50-50? That is only possible when you have 2 options. But when you talk about the creation of the universe and you do guesswork, What is the possibility that your guesswork is correct? Infinitesimal, infinitely less chance. So Anuman Praman is not the proper way to gain knowledge. So we understood Pratyaksha Praman cannot work, Anuman Praman cannot work. Another example of Anuman Praman, if our mother doesn't tell us who is our father, how can we find out who is our father? See, scientific analysis means you have to exhaust all the options to come to a conclusion. You have to really understand the nature of half the population, human population of this planet, to correctly and scientifically analyze who is your father. That also you cannot have surety. So Shabd Praman means getting the information from the right source. If my mother tells me this is your father, that is Shabd Praman. And that is perfect knowledge. No need to do Anuman Praman. Save time. Don't do Pratyaksha Praman. Because our senses have 4 defects. Number 1, our senses are always in illusion. Number 2, our senses are imperfect. Number 3, there is a possibility to commit mistakes using our senses. And third, because there is a possibility to commit mistakes, so therefore there is a tendency to cheat. So these are the 4 defects which everybody has. But are these 4 defects in Krishna? His senses are imperfect. Is he in illusion? Does he commit mistakes? And then does he cheat? Yes or no? So therefore, whatever knowledge we get from a perfect person is perfect. So I'm not saying that I'm perfect, and I'm not saying that you are perfect. I'm saying that the knowledge which we are getting is from the perfect person, Krishna. And if we just follow it, then we are perfect. For example, the father tells the child, but that my dear father, my dear son, this is fire, don't touch. So if the child understands this much, his knowledge is perfect. Why should I simply put his hand to figure out whether it burns or not? If we simply take perfect knowledge from the perfect source, then we are saved from so much trouble. This is the difference between a first-class student, a second-class student, and a third-class student, and a person who is not a student. A first-class student simply understands by hearing, Shravanam. Somebody told him that don't steal. He understood, he didn't steal. A second-class student means karke dekhte hain. Let's see what happens. Life mein sab kuch try karna chahiye. Correct? That is a second-class student. Third-class student means he is seeing so many times that a person who is stealing is being prosecuted, is being put into the jail, but still he is so much compelled by his senses that he wants to steal. This is a third-class student. And fourth-class student means, I don't care. I don't believe. I'm an outlaw. These days people wear t-shirts written outlaw. They feel very proud to have that rugged individualism in them. They feel very proud to be an outlaw. They feel very proud to do something which is not permissible in the society. The other day, I met one lady, she started talking to me. I feel it's absolutely fine to become a mother before or without getting married. It is absolutely fine to be a mother out of wedlock. Now, this is madness. What can we talk to such people? Krishna says, those who deny or don't live a life according to the Vedic scriptures, they neither attain perfection, nor do they get happiness, nor do they achieve a higher destination. Similarly, Krishna says that stealing is bad, but I don't care. I want to become a Robin Hood. Krishna says, lust, anger, and greed are 3 gates to hell. Oh, but in my college, people who are lusty, angry, and greedy, they are the heroes. So let me become a hero. So when we go against Krishna, we suffer. So keeping all these things in the background, let's start today's discussion. Common sense and logical understanding. How do we communicate the death of a person? I will expect some answers from you. Sorry? If somebody has died, how do you send a WhatsApp message, or how do you call someone and tell? How do you go and inform people? Passed away. Okay. Can you tell me in various languages? Passed away is English. Any other? ये हम लोग बहुत अज्यूम कर लेते हैं. वैकुंठ धाम जिंदगी भर किए, मजा भी किए और बाद में भगवत धाम भी चले गए. बताओ. स्वर्ग सिधार गए. That also you have gone and seen, huh? ठीक है, चलो. For discussion purpose, we will assume परलोक सिधार गए. Let's not say स्वर्ग और वैकुंठ. परलोक, a loka which is beyond this material world or in this material world, but beyond the earthly planetary system. Paralok. So passed away, parlok, सिधार गए. Any other language? Sorry? निधन हो गया. ठीक है, ओके. क्या? शांत हो गए. Any other language? Kannada, Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam? Irkonda. Tirikonda. This is which language? Kannada. Tirikonda. Poiter. Left. Poiter. So see, we saw Tamil. Poiter, Tirikonda, Kannada, Nidhan, Hindi, passed away, English. Did you see that in all the languages, the message which is being communicated is quite similar? What has passed away? The person who has died is here. His hand is here. His heart is here. His leg is here. His intestines are here. Everything is here. Then what has passed away? Even without understanding, we are conscious that we are not the body, we are the spirit soul. I have asked this question in various parts of the world and in various languages. I was thinking that maybe only in the Indian culture this knowledge is there. Let me ask in other places. Every place they speak like this. Passed away. Every place, unknowingly, every culture on this planet knows that we are not the body, we are the spirit soul. All glories to the various sages and the saintly people who traveled all across this planet and communicated this to the people. So when a person dies, we say he has passed away. My father passed away, my brother passed away, my sister passed away, like that we say. That means we know that we are not the body, we are the spirit soul. Only the body has died. The designation with that body has died, but the person continues to exist. Okay, so on this basis, I'm going to present something called as reincarnation. How many of you believe in reincarnation? Some people don't believe. So here is a proof for you. There is this professor serving in one of the prestigious universities of India. His name is Deep Kapadia. You can go and Google today. So in his last life, he was a security guard in the Udaipur fort. In Udaipur, there is a museum, which is also a fort. So Udaipur Fort Museum, he was a security guard. And he used to take care of that fort, and then his family members were also a part of that only. He died and he took birth again, this time in Borivali, Mumbai. And when he was 3.5 years old, he started speaking in Marwadi. Coming from a Marathi family, he was speaking Marwadi. And then he desired to go to Udaipur. And then he started telling when they took him to Udaipur, he started guiding everybody that let's go this direction, let's go that road, this road, that road. And then he actually took everybody to the Udaipur fort. And there, his parents were thinking he's mad. So they took him to some doctor, psychiatrist. Doctor said everything is fine. And then he went to the fort. And then a 50-year-old man was there. He went and hugged the 50-year-old man saying that you are my son, how are you? The 3.5-year-old child hugging a 50-year-old man, how are you, my son? So the man was shocked. And then he told him that, I taught you this. Did you know I had told you to do this? Before dying, I asked you to do this. Did you do like that? So the son became fully convinced he's my father. But still they wanted some proof. So the son asked, please tell me, where is your gun kept? So he told, okay, in this room of the fort, there is a photo. Behind that photo is a gun. So they also didn't know where that gun is. They were looking for it. Antique gun. But this 3.5-year-old child guided them. And all this is documented, okay? So parents thought it is still something crazy which is going on, and so they took him to a group, the topmost psychiatrists of this world, the Ian Stevenson's group. And then the Ian Stevenson's group specializes in this kind of research. They have, if you go to their website, there is 3,500 documented cases with 4 or 5 witnesses in each case, that whatever is being told is truth. So 3,500 plus documented cases of reincarnation have been fully documented by Ian Stevenson's group. And one of the documentation was this Deep Kapadia. He's a mathematics professor, and he's not a madman, he's an educated man, and he remembers his past life. So, like Krishna says, Mattah smritir jnanam apohanam cha. By my influence comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. So if Krishna wants, you can remember. If he doesn't want, you don't remember. Okay. So this Ian Stevenson, after studying, so now he's dead, passed away in 2007. He has come up with this formula. He says reincarnation, at least as I can, because this Ian Stevenson never studied the Bhagavad Gita, so he couldn't understand the supreme absolute truth. But this is what his scientific research conclusion is. Reincarnation, at least as I conceive it, does not nullify what we know about evolution and genetics. It suggests, however, that there may be 2 streams of evolution: the biological one and the personal one. The personal one, which he is talking, is the spiritual aspect. That during terrestrial lives, these streams may interact. So a very vague understanding of reincarnation. If you can just read one verse of Bhagavad Gita, that how the soul passes on from one body to another, this mystery will be solved. He's a psychiatrist in the University of Virginia. They've named the department behind his name, and all the cases are documented. Only a very biased person, after going through all these documentation, will say that reincarnation does not exist. Otherwise, this is sufficient proof. Generally, to frame an opinion, 1 page of Wikipedia is sufficient, right? If I ask you how many species of life live in water, you will not do any research. You'll just open Wikipedia, whatever it says, you'll surrender to the Wikipedia. Here are 3,000 documented cases. Even after this, if you believe that reincarnation doesn't exist, you are a very biased person. To further prove it to you that yes, we are not the body, we are the spirit soul, here is something called as near-death experiences. I'm showing these names so that you can go and Google Michael Sabom. So he has various documentations where he has a specific documentation which caught my interest was a person who was brought into the hospital in a comatose kind of situation. And they were supposed to go under some operation. And then during the operation, this Michael Sabom and his friend, they were discussing the golf game, which they played yesterday. And then they took a break. They said, let's stop the operation for some time. Let's finish our discussion first. So they sat down on the chair in the operation theater, and then they finished their discussion. Then they resumed all these things happen in the operation theater. So every time when you hear this operation went on for 2 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, it's not what it looks like. It may be something else also. I have nothing against doctors. If there is any doctor here, please forgive me. I'm not saying that doctors are insincere, but I'm just saying that doctors are human beings. And sometimes in the most critical situation, they feel like talking also. So this patient, after she got up, she said, aren't you ashamed? I was on the verge of collapsing and dying, and you people were discussing golf. These doctors were shocked. They said that, what did you hear? Then she exactly verbatim reproduced all that they did with minute details. And then she said, I was fed up that you people were talking. So what I did, I went for a walk. So I went for the walk on the terrace. I went on the terrace and I saw on the northeast side of the terrace, there is a dirty shoe which is kept there, which is smelling too much. However, from the terrace, the view of the banyan, the oak tree is very nice. How do you think all this is possible? She came to the operation theater in a sedated condition, in a comatose situation. But she heard the discussions. She went up on, her body is there, but she went up to the terrace, saw the dirty shoes. The doctors went and verified, yeah, the shoe is there, the oak tree is there, the flowers are there. Whatever she described, it was not possible humanly to do all that. She never left the room where she was brought in the hospital. Then how could she see all these things? So this means that we have a physical body, we have a subtle body, and we have a spiritual body. What is dreaming? How many of you dream? Please raise your hands. So dreaming means your subtle body takes your spirit soul for a walk. And then your body is lying there. But you, when you are in a dream, you forget your physical body. Does this happen? How many of you remember I'm sleeping on the bed, but now simultaneously I'm dreaming? How many of you have that experience? Nobody. So in a dream, you are thinking that you are sitting on a horse and you are riding, you're looking into the sun and riding, and then the horse falls down and then you also fall down. Then in the dream only, you will be like crouching and taking steps to protect yourself, and you'll be sweating also. That means you forgot your present body. But as soon as your dream is over, you forget the dream mostly. That means you forget your subtle body and you remember the present body. This is the proof that you are a spirit soul. Death means your soul leaves the body for good. It never comes back to that body. That is death. Just like when I have this dhoti, when it is not usable further, I'll throw it away. That is called death of this dhoti. So similarly, when the body is no longer usable, when the time has come, that is called death. And then based on the consciousness which we have at the time of death, our next body is determined. I was explaining in the previous class. The karma which we have done and the consciousness which is a result of that karma at the time of death decides our next body. So if my karma is to become a cockroach and I'm thinking of the Rashtrapati Bhavan, then what's going to happen to me? Sorry? I'll become a cockroach in the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Very good. So therefore, I often say, and I don't intend any pun here, life is not about the art of living. Life is about the art of dying. Death is the final exam which we are all preparing for. You may become a world conqueror like Alexander, but if you are not prepared for death, you will be miserable. You may call yourself a great personality who has done so much social service, but if you are not having a transcendental consciousness at the time of death, you'll have to suffer. One of my friends, not very serious in bhakti, we went to Puri and we were having bath in the ocean. Very nice ocean is there. But he went a little bit deep inside the ocean and he lost his feet and the waves took over and we didn't know where he is for the next 4 or 5 minutes. The lifeguards came and somehow he was saved. The first thing which I asked him was, were you about to die? He said, yes, I was about to die. And then I said, what were you thinking of? He said, I saw that all the number of years which I have lived in this body passed as a flashback in front of my eyes in a very short moment. And it was like a vision which I was having, and the vision stuck at a particular point. What was that vision? Please don't laugh. This is a real thing. He said, all of a sudden in my vision came the advertisement of Lux soap. And I saw that Sridevi was having bath. And then I was looking at Sridevi. And that was the last memory I have. Then we both started laughing and then we said that Krishna really saved him. He not only saved your body, but he saved your soul. Because if you would have died thinking of Sridevi, Lux advertisement, I don't know what you would have become in your next life. This is very, very serious. The sanskara, see, what is a samskar? Something which you have enjoyed very much. That is called as a samskar. And the possibility that that will become a prominent impression at the time of death is very high. So therefore, we should expose more and more ourselves towards samskaras of the Bhagavad Gita, samskaras of the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of Krishna. No need to meditate on some thief or some film star. Rather meditate on the beautiful body of Krishna. Rather meditate on the qualities of Krishna. Then we are safe. And this is a real incident, I'm telling you. It can happen. It can happen with anybody. You can think of the advertisement of pedigree, a dog eating it very nicely, because you have fed your dog pedigree. And when the dog was eating pedigree, you used to feel very nice. And every time you used to think pedigree is what my dog likes to eat. So every time I love that pedigree, give me pedigree, 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 dog, pedigree. At the time of that, you will see that only. You are seeing the pedigree packet and you're serving your dog. Dog is eating very nicely. Nitai Gaur Haribol. And next life, you'll become a dog in the pedigree shop only. So you have to be very, very careful. Death is the final exam and life is its preparation. Now, that was the first point which we covered. Very quickly, I will describe the next two reasons why we suffer. The first reason is the attitude. The second reason why we suffer, doing the root cause analysis, is that we have an attitude of comparison. Do you think this is a problem? If yes, why? If no, why? Please raise your hands. Yes, first your name and then why do you think what you think? No, with respect to this topic. My question is attitude of comparison a cause for suffering? If yes, why? If no, why? Okay. Yes. So attitude of comparison is, so should we compare? Not compare. Okay. What about Prabhuji's? Yes. No questions. First. Maybe, may not be. Definition of your positivity and definition of your inspiration is very subjective. Yeah. Someone may get inspired to murder someone also. Inspiration will not be a cause of suffering. Someone gets inspired to work 18 hours a day and they think it is not a cause of suffering, and I don't know. Yes. Yes. And that shouldn't be how you engage in people yourself. So then it becomes relative. It makes you better or worse. Yes. And that is not, again, it's all type of technology. Yes. Can you exist? Is it possible for you to exist without comparison? Or you cannot exist only? And if you do not compare, will you with all certainty say that I'll be miserable only? It's possible to lead a simple life without comparison. That is the point which I'm trying to say. I will tell you an allegorical story which I've heard from my relatives. So there was a worshipper of Mother Kali. He had a strong desire to get many things in life. So he started worshipping Kali. Mother Kali appeared in front of him and she told, what do you want? He said, I have a desire that whatever I want, I should get. This is a very crazy desire. So Mother Kali said, okay, you may have it. But she added a condition that whatever you will get, your neighbor will get the twice of it. The story appears in the Puranas, okay? It's not a cooked up story. So, but he was so excited that, yeah, I've got this boon, I've got this blessing, now I can get whatever I want. He didn't hear the second part properly. The first thing which he said was like, I want these many, let's say, cars. Or rather, he said, I want this particular car. And he became so happy. He was driving the car and he went for a ride. He thought, my life's goal has been accomplished. But when he came back with the car, he saw that the neighbor has two such cars. So in a moment's notice, he forgot the happy time which he spent in the last 1 hour driving the car, feeling happy about the car, feeling good that he has that car which he has been thinking of. He just saw two such cars in the neighbor's house and he became very miserable. In short, he forgot what he has. He just saw what he does not have. He became less grateful and more envious. So he became inspired by seeing those two cars to have some things more than his neighbor. So then he wished, let me have two houses, let me have two palaces. Guess what happened after that? The neighbor had 4 palaces. So he became again very miserable. And like this, although he probably became the richest man in the world, but he was very miserable. Why? Because his neighbor was richer than him. So the point which I'm trying to say, that the so-called happiness or distress in this world is not actual happiness or distress. 99% times, it is basically the delta or the difference between what we have and what the neighbor has. Do you appreciate this point? You will not imagine what this fellow ended up doing. He ended up making a prayer, may I lose one of my eyes. And what happened? Never lost 2 eyes. Now he became happy. Yeah, I can see the world with 1 eye, but my neighbor cannot see only. Now I am happy. So you see how crazy is this attitude of comparison and to what degree it can degrade you. This constant comparison is not a path to success. One second, let me finish this topic, I'll come to you. So this constant comparison is not a cause or a path to success. You have to understand that why you are doing what you are doing. I repeat, you should understand why you are doing what you are doing. If you do not understand that, ultimately you will be misguided, or else you will make a serious mistake. I was there in the hostel during my days of graduation, and I had a friend who very religiously would get up. At that time, I was not a devotee of Krishna, neither was I very much interested in the Bhagavad Gita or something. I was just leading a normal, callous life. And then, but my friend would get up every day and then he would have bath and he would put so many tilaks all over his body. I asked him, why do you put this tilak in 12 different places of your body? He said, I don't know. My father does it, so I'm doing it. And then guess what? After a certain time, he stopped doing it. Because he didn't know why he's doing what he's doing. So therefore, in life, we should know, why am I doing what am I doing? Otherwise, we'll get into this in the name of being ahead of the competition, in the name of being alert, what are the needs of the market and this and that. We'll get into a wrong game of comparison and we'll kill our own happiness. And our happiness will be determined by the delta. If I can make my competitors cry, I'm happy. That's the problem. Yeah, I don't see how happy I am, but I just see how happy my neighbor is. And if he's more happy than me, then I'm not progressing. If he's less happy than me, then I'm progressing. Yeah, very good. And most of us are infected by this. I was also infected by it, let's be honest. I used to go to a drawing class, and there was a friend of mine who was a really good artist, exceptionally good artist. So I didn't, I wouldn't, of course, I would like to become like him, but I wouldn't appreciate him being such a nice artist. Because I used to try and try and try, but my painting was not as good as his. But once it so happened that in the examination of the final examination of the art, somehow by some fluke, I got more marks than him. I was very happy. Just see, you're a loser. I was ready to ignore the fact that for 1 year, I have always marveled at his skills. But just because I got few marks more than him, I was so happy. And our professor was also laughing at us. Just see, both of you. Simply both of you are wasting time. Both of you are not learning art. Simply competing with each other unnecessarily. So this attitude of comparison is a cause of suffering. Many people suffer because of this. Most of the people suffer. Yes, sir, you had a question. First your name and then the question. Surinder Singh. Yes, thank you for coming again. It's a comment. Very good.
We could not have a fixed mind for understanding a particular. This is my what I perceive, I don't perceive my own. So, we should, I think, between comparison, read, and build. What was the example I will cite this? So, you are right. Vedanta cannot be wrong. But let us be more flexible.
No, you are saying Veda cannot be wrong, then what's the question of being flexible?
No.
Either you believe in this, either you agree with this. See, sir. Sorry to say, Surinder Prabhuji, you should not care for my opinion. And neither I should care for your opinion. I am not here to please you, you are not here to please me. We are here to discuss Shastra. Let me conclude by the next statement what I'm trying to say. Then you can come with these comments. See, the problem is whenever the Bhagavad Gita discussion starts happening, I think, I feel, I believe, according to me, in my opinion, that is not Bhagavad Gita. And strictly, I will suggest that let's not get into that discussion mode, because even the thela wala who's standing outside has an opinion. And if we get into this opinion game, what is the difference between greed, jealousy, and comparison? Every person will have their opinion. But such opinions will not drive the discussion in this class. Because let me tell you, Prabhuji, if you have an opinion, 100 people sitting here have 100 opinions. Whose opinion is right? I agree, you are an experienced man. You have seen life. You have gone through various ups and downs in life. But how can you deny the experience which this person has? Or how can you deny the opinion of this person here? Oh, so then that is not a discussion. A discussion does not happen on perceptions. A discussion means, correct. We are not discussing others' perceptions. With all due respect, sir, with all due respect, a discussion can happen only when the foundation is Shastra. Just like in the High Court or in the Supreme Court, if a lawyer starts saying, according to me, I feel, in my opinion, that has no value. Whatever he has to say, he has to quote the various constitutional principles, the laws, or the previous judgments. Only then his statements have any value. So if any student has to express something, it is welcome. But make sure you back it up with some verse of Bhagavad Gita, or you back it up with some principle of the Shastra. If that is not happening, suppose if I am a lawyer in the Supreme Court, and if I just go and say, I feel, I believe, in my opinion, according to me, if I argue for half an hour also, the judge will not, he will just start doing something else. No, he'll not say get lost. That is the contempt of the court. But argument or discussion means the basis should be Shastra. In our parliament, the discussion's basis is not Shastra. In the United Nations, the basis is not Shastra. But in this class, the basis is Shastra. Whatever you have to say, you have to quote from the scriptures. Then only it will be accepted. Otherwise, if we get into this game of, I feel, according to me, in my opinion, I believe, I come from a particular culture, this is my exposure. I come from a particular environment, this is my exposure. I come from a particular background, this is my exposure, unlimited. We don't want to get into that. So therefore, very due respect, with respect and with extreme appreciation of everybody's opinions, we don't care for anybody's opinion. We only care for what the Shastra has to say. And what I'm saying, I'm backing up with the shloka. Srimad Bhagavatam 3.28.2. You please listen to this analysis of Srimad Bhagavatam, and then you'll understand what I'm trying to say. Swadharmacharanam shaktya vidharmacha nivartanam daivalalabdhena santosha atma vicharanachanam. This is the solution for attitude of comparison. One should execute his prescribed duties to the best of his ability and avoid performing duties not allotted to him. One should be satisfied with as much gain as he achieves by the grace of the Lord, and one should worship the lotus feet of the spiritual master. Now let me explain to you how and what this shloka means. The first line, Swadharma Charanam Shaktya. What is Swadharma? Swadharma means understanding what is my nature, what kind of work I should do, which Varna I belong to, and which ashram is suitable for me. That is called Swadharma. If Krishna has sent you a cook, and if you put that cook in the accounts, then you are basically making a waste of energy and resources. Swadharma. Swadharma cannot be understood on our own also. I cannot understand what is my Varna, whether I belong to the Brahmana class or Vaishya class, Shudra class or Kshatriya class. And all this is not decided by birth, definitely. It is decided by karma. Chatur varna maya srishtam guna karma vibhagasha. Based on your guna and karma, your varna is decided. Similarly, your ashram, brahmachari, grihas, vanaprasthi, sannyasi. What ashram should I be in? Which varna I belong to? What is the kind of work I should do? All this requires guidance of Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. So under the guidance of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra in the Vedic education system, all the people who would get enrolled in a Gurukul, they were analyzed for first 2-3 years. They would do all different kinds of work. And then the Guru would very nicely analyze, the other sadhus would analyze in line with the Shastra, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. And then they would give a recommendation that it is good that if you engage in this kind of work, it is good if you become a brahmachari, it is good if you become a gold merchant, it is good if you start learning the martial arts. So like that, the Guru, Sadhu and Shastra would recommend, seeing the samskaras which the living entity is carrying from previous life. That is called Swadharma. So the point which I'm trying to say is that everybody should work according to their Swadharma. Not that simply because the society wants everybody to be, let's say, a software professional in Bangalore, but I'm not a software professional, so I'm slogging and slogging and slogging and slogging because the society wants. So the Bhagavatam says, act according to your Swadharma. Work is not meant for the satisfaction of my boss. Work is meant for my personal satisfaction. These are simple principles which people sometimes ignore. They choose their work. Most of the people are DBPS or DBMS. Do because Papa said, do because Mother said. There is a school called DBMS also. We used to make fun of the name when I was a small child. So Swadharma Charanam. Your acharan should be according to your Swadharma. Next, how much should you work? First is what you should do. So according to your Swadharma. Next, what you should do, how much you should work? Shaktya, according to your capacity. This means I should put my 100%. Now I'm going to say something very unheard of. Please don't stone me to death for saying this. You should give your 100%. You should not give your 95%. You should not give your 105%. You should give only 100%. That is your Shakti, and that much you should do. Shaktya. When the Ram Setu was being built, Hanuman had the potential of lifting mountains and bringing. But a squirrel has a potential of bringing some grains of sand. So you should not become envious of Hanuman. Unnecessary comparison. I want to become like Hanuman. I want to become like Hanuman. It's not possible for you. Similarly, Hanuman should not insult the squirrel. Hey, you stupid squirrel. I'm bringing such mountain. Get out of my way. No. The squirrel's capacity is that it can bring 2 sand particles. And Hanuman's capacity is that he can bring 2 mountains. Act according to your capacity. This is Vedic civilization. Understand what is your Swadharma and understand what is your Shakti and use it 100% in the service of Krishna. Chant Hare Krishna, be happy in life. This is called Shaktya. Now next, Vidharma cha nivartanam. Shaktya means if you're being paid for 8 hours, work for 8 hours. Don't unnecessarily work for 9 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. And don't work for 7.5 hours also. When you go to office, don't waste time on Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Twitter. Dedicate those 8 hours with sincere planning, with diligence. But as soon as those 8 hours are over, get out. Do other things which are important in life. Save time for chanting Hare Krishna, read Bhagavatam. Nobody is going to be thankful. At the time of death, you will not be thinking, I wish I had worked more for my office. You will not be thinking like this. Or you will not be thinking, I wish I had spent some more time on Twitter. No. You have to understand what is your Swadharma and act accordingly, and you have to give your 100%. Vidharma cha nivartanam. One should not be bothered what others are doing. Everybody wants to do a profession which is very popular, irrespective whether they are suitable for that or not. Because of this, they get into positions which they are incapable of handling. Has it happened to some of you in your life? Because of this comparison purpose, you ended up in a situation where you were underqualified to handle that situation, but out of peer pressure, you accepted it and then made a mess out of it. Have you done that? I've done that. I've done that. And it's all because of this attitude of comparison. I had a friend who wanted to study mathematics, but his father pressurized him to get into some other premier institute just so that he could be in that premier institute. Doesn't matter whether he is getting mathematics or not. He ended up getting some other subject. He committed suicide. He wanted to study mathematics. He could have easily studied in the same city and been happy in life. But his father forced him to enter a prestigious institution. Doesn't matter if you study economics or if you study something else. But you have to be in that prestigious institution. And he didn't like what he was doing. And of course, he was misguided and not a student of Bhagavad Gita. So he committed suicide. I'm not saying it's his father's fault. I'm saying it's an unfortunate situation where Vidharma cha nivartanam was happening. Too much stress on what Sharma ji ka beta is doing, too much stress on what this person is doing or that person is doing. Knowingly or unknowingly, 99% of the parents are doing this. Dekho, kitna achhe se. Dekho, dekho, dekho. Whole life is dekho, dekho, dekho. Dekhte, dekhte, spectacles lag jata hai. Vidharma cha nivartanam. And then daivalalabdhena santosha. That means after knowing and acting according to your Swadharma, after giving in your 100%, after not bothering what the society is doing and being satisfied by what you are doing, daivalalabdhena santosha. By the mercy of the Supreme Lord, whatever results come, be happy with that. You gave your 100%, you're acting according to your Swadharma, you're not bothered about what others are doing, And after doing this much, whatever result which is coming by the mercy of Krishna, be satisfied with that. Don't crib about it. Santosham param sukham. This is the meaning of that. Santosham does not mean ignorance. I'm not giving my 100%, but still I'm satisfied. I got 35%, I'm satisfied. I got 37%, I'm satisfied. No. First you give your 100%. First you take proper guidance. First you do not be simply seeing what others are doing and focus on your own work. And after that, what comes, be satisfied. This is called Vedic culture. I'm not finished, bro. Maybe your question will get answered when I finish my discussion. Just hang on. And Atmavich Charanachanam, this is the most important part. After doing all these 3 steps, act according to your Swadharma, give in your 100%, don't be bothered what others are doing, be satisfied with what results come by the mercy of Krishna, and then whatever time is left, chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. And read the Bhagavad Gita, come for these classes, eat prasadam. This is the solution for the attitude of comparison. And this is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam 3.28.2. Please note down the reference number. Go and read it. This is not my opinion. This is not the Prime Minister of India's opinion. This is the opinion of Shastra. Before you, someone else had raised hands, so I'll take that. Yes.
How do you decide
what is your 100%? For that, you need guidance of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Arjuna couldn't decide what is his 100%. Krishna guided him. So you have to be under the guidance of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra to understand these perplexities. You have to put this question in an objective way, not in a subjective way. You put this, that this is the situation, this is what's happening. How much should I put in and how much should I not put in? What is extra endeavor and what is under endeavor and what is optimum endeavor? Only Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra can guide you. So this is a matter of training. This is a matter of intelligence. It takes time. Did you follow? Yes. Yes. For that, you need the guidance of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Those people who are above the modes of material nature, that means those who are sincere, pure devotees of the Lord, who can analyze every situation from many spiritual and material angles. Basically speaking, who have got nothing to do with this world, who are detached from this world. They are in a position to analyze, because one whose hands are free, only they can open the ropes of others. So those who are above the modes of material nature, they can analyze who is in the mode of goodness, who is in the mode of passion, who is in the mode of ignorance. What should I do to this person to bring him to the Shuddha Sattva? What should I do to this person to bring him to the Shuddha Sattva? So they are called as gurus. And then there are some other people who are reading the Bhagavad Gita and practicing Hare Krishna. They are called sadhus. And then there's the Shastra. So in a spiritual environment, when you start serving Guru and Krishna, they will observe you and they'll be able to assist you, provided you want to know. When you want to know, and if you ask about it, then they will observe you, analyze you, and they'll be able to suggest you. They'll not force you. They'll only suggest. The problem is that if I'm in a particular state of existence, I will not realize that I'm there most of the times. I will always think I'm right. I'll always think that this is not so bad. That's why it's not so easy to take feedback. It is easy to worship the deities because the deities, the picture doesn't give feedback. But it is difficult to stay with devotees because they'll give feedback to you. Especially if for me, taking feedback is not easy, that means I should understand that I don't know where I stand. So therefore, I need guidance from my seniors, whom I have served, whom I have tried to please, who are my selfless, causeless well-wishers, who want to help me without any personal motivation, and who are pure devotees of Krishna. And they are in a situation to help me to understand how and what should be my engagement. What is my Swadharma? That is why Krishna said, Chatur Varna Maya System Guna Karma Vibhagash. Only when you serve a spiritual master will they reveal it to you that this is your guna and this is your karma. You should pursue this path. And any problems, you can have clarifications. In most of the cases, it is not possible to understand the Swadharma on your own. It is not possible. You need the guidance of your superiors who are causeless, selfless, unmotivated well-wishers, and who are pure devotees of Krishna, who are above the laws or who are above the modes of material nature. This is my understanding of Swadharma. That's how I came to know of my Swadharma. I'm not a blind follower. I'm a scientific inquirer. But I'm not a rebel also. First, I knew my position that if I have to inquire about these spiritual truths, first I should serve someone and try to please them. And then when they are pleased with me, then I have a right to ask them some questions submissively. Life is not a Quora platform where you ask and everybody will keep answering. Do you know this question answer, when does it work? You may ask me 10 questions, I can give you 10 answers, but that will not help you in your life. I'm revealing a great secret to you. Please listen very carefully. This is not my realization. This is written in the Bhagavad Gita. I'm just presenting in simple language to you. You may ask me 5 questions, I can give you 5 answers, but that's not going to help you in your life. Until you serve me and until I am pleased with you, my answers will not penetrate deep into your heart and create an influence within you. You follow? That is why Krishna said in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, shloka number 34, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. The process of knowledge, the topic of this shloka is process of knowledge. He says, Tadvidhi pranipatena. First, approach a spiritual master. Pranipatena, surrender to him. Offer your obeisances to him. Pariprashnena sevaya, render service to him. Try to please him. Then ask questions submissively. It's not a blind method. There are so many books. You read the books, you ask the questions. It's a scientific process. And then those who are tattvadarshis, those who have seen the truth, upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshi. Being pleased with your service, they will reveal the truth to you. That is the process of knowledge. So therefore, even when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the spiritual master of all spiritual masters, when he comes in the human society, even he goes and accepts a spiritual master, Sandipani Muni. Even he becomes a humble sweeper in his ashram. Even he, the Vaikuntapati, whom millions and billions of Lakshmis are serving, he goes and picks up sticks from the forest and brings for cooking in the house of his spiritual master. Why? Because he wants to set an example. And I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but when I even come in the human society, I also follow these rules. My dear so-called puffed up fellow, why are you not following? So that is the discussion. Did I answer your question, by the way? Can we move further? So I would like to summarize this attitude of comparison. Perform one's own duty. Work up to your maximum capacity. Don't aspire to do others' duty. Be satisfied with whatever result is achieved. Duty is meant for the satisfaction of the mind. Now I'm telling you, this shloka of Srimad Bhagavatam is the only solution for attitude of comparison. And this knowledge which you have received now can and surely will surpass all the other knowledge of this world. How many of you feel that now you have this knowledge, you can get rid of this attitude of comparison in this lifetime? Please raise your hands. Just see. I'm asking a very difficult question. How many of you can get rid of this attitude of comparison? Very difficult. But having this knowledge, how many of you are hopeful that you'll be able to do it? This consciousness is called Krishna consciousness. We have some cancers in our mind, the cancer of comparison, the cancer of criticism. These cancers can be cured by Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam only in an environment where there is incessant chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. This was the story which I was telling you. It is actually a real story. A great monkey was bringing great mountains to build Lord Ram's bridge. And the squirrel was thinking, I should also serve. So it was going and dipping itself in the water, going and rolling on the sand, and then bringing some sand particles on the bridge and shaking its body so that the sand particles go and fall between the stones, in the space between the stones. So once this great monkey, the squirrel came in the path, so the great monkey scolded him, hey, get out of my path, unnecessarily disturbing. Who asked you to come here? So Lord Ram became very angry. He called both of them, come here. Just because you are a great monkey and you can lift great mountains doesn't mean that you are rendering more service to me. God does not see the magnitude of your service. God sees the attitude of your service. That is why the name of Krishna is Bhavagrahi Janardana. When Krishna went as a peace messenger to Hastinapur, Duryodhan called the best cooks of this planet. And the best possible dishes which is available in the human society were made for Krishna. But Krishna rejected it. Instead, he went to Vidura's house and ate spinach and roti, saag and roti. Why do you think he did that? Definitely paneer makhan wala tastes better than saag, right? We are not serving that today. But definitely paneer makhan wala will taste better than saag. But why do you think Krishna gave up that taste and went for saag? Bhava. Krishna is not seeing the magnitude of your service. He is seeing the attitude of yours. Are you doing this service to become famous? Are you doing this service to get some favor? Are you doing this service for some ulterior purpose? Or are you doing it for the pleasure of Krishna? That is what Krishna sees. That's why he says in the Bhagavad Gita, this is the sweetest. I call I have given themes to every verse of Bhagavad Gita. So the Bhagavad Gita, this verse has the theme called simplicity and innocence of Bhakti Yoga. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tad aham bhaktya upahritam ashnami prayatatmanah. Krishna says, if my devotee offers a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water to me, I will accept it. Do you know who is Krishna? He's not hungry for your puris and rasgullas. If you read the Brahma Samhita, you will understand the opulence of Krishna. In the Brahma Samhita, the information of Vaikuntha is there. It is said that in Vaikuntha there is no dust, no dirt. But just to attract the attention of Krishna, the various infinite Lakshmis which are there in Vaikuntha, they keep sweeping the clean floor only every time. That Krishna will see me and he will appreciate it. And with a desire to please Krishna and unparalleled love, they are trying to serve Krishna. Can you cook like Lakshmi? But Krishna is ready to leave all that and come for your patram pushpam phalam toyam. Why? Bhaktya. If you have that bhakti bhav, he will come with you. Spend time with you. The Supreme Personality of Godhead who has nothing, he is Atma Ram. He gives birth to Brahma without even the help of Lakshmi. Swarat, completely independent. Atma Ram, he does not need anyone to be happy in life. He comes and sits with you and eats your leaf, flower, fruit, and water because you have offered it with love and devotion. 2 times the word bhaktya comes. You see, patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tad aham bhaktya uparitam ashnami prayata. 2 times Krishna has told bhakti, devotion should be there. You take a chair, no? Chair. So if you have devotion, Krishna sees your attitude of service, not the magnitude of service. So for Lord Ram, the squirrel and the great monkey both were same. Can you imagine that? The squirrel, the service which squirrel did and the service which this great monkey did were equally pleasing to Lord Ram. This is called Bhagwan. The next cause which I want to discuss in the next 5 minutes only, or rather 10 minutes. The last cause of suffering is sinful activities or doing wrong things. Even before I start the discussion, how many of you believe that if you do sinful activities, bad karma, you will suffer? Please raise your hands. Rather, let me ask the reverse question. How many of you think that irrespective of what you do, you will not suffer? No hands raised. You are raising your hand. Huh? Suffering is there. Huh? My question is, even if you do bad things, you will not suffer. How many of you think like that? Nobody. You are raising your hand. So I'll cover this question very quickly, this section, because I know all of you are already convinced about this. I'm going to tell you how people fall down in life. Please note down these verse numbers, 2.62. Dhyayato vishayan pumsah. You can repeat. Dhyayato vishayan pumsah sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho vijayate. I'm discussing how lust gets developed. While contemplating on objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them. And from such attachment, lust develops, and from lust arises anger. Lust means I'm trying to enjoy something which is not rightfully mine. I'm trying to see the nice property or the 2-acre land which my neighbor has, but I want to trespass it and capture it. This is called lust. I'm trying to be the lord of everything which I survey. This is called lust. And the most perverted form of lust is the attraction towards the opposite gender. So Krishna says, Dhyayato Vishya Pumsa. When you meditate on the sense object for the eye is the opposite gender. The sense object for the ear is the gossip. The sense object for the tongue is, horrible things like that. So when we meditate on the sense objects, that leads to attachment for them. Because of this attachment, when you keep thinking about it more and more, lust develops. And the nature of lust is that no matter whether you try to satisfy it or whether you try to starve it, you will always become angry. How many of you have experienced this? Khujli ho gaya hai. Whether you scratch it less or whether you scratch it more, you will be unhappy with it. So lust always gives rise to anger. Why? Because no matter how much you try to satisfy, it will never be satisfied. So that leads to frustration. So therefore I say sense gratification leads to frustration. Always remember this. Never forget this. Okay? The best example is the advertisements. क्या आपके toothpaste में cow dung है? They are asking this. क्या आपके toothpaste में नमक है? अरे, what will I do with that namak, Baba? If you do not have this refrigerator, you are not a man only. How many of you feel that these advertisements are programming you and you end up doing things and buy things which you don't need in life? So that is the application. This principle of advertisement, dhyato vishya pumsa, it is the application of this verse of Bhagavad Gita. You are a nice person, but every time on radio, every time during cricket match, every time during your Saas Bahu serial, they'll keep showing. क्या आपके टूथपेस्ट में नमक है? क्या आपके टूथपेस्ट में नमक है? क्या आपके टूथपेस्ट में नमक? लो हो गया. ध्यायतो विषया पुंसा संगस्तेषु पजायते. Sangat sanjayate kamat kamat. No matter how many toothpastes with namak you buy, you'll never be satisfied. And that's the key to the consumerism. This section is called as operations research. The way they arrange the objects in a mall is the application of this verse of Bhagavad Gita. They know that this lusty fellow, he wants a bread, and with that bread, he has the lust to eat butter also. So they'll keep the bread in one corner and they'll keep the butter in the extreme end other corner. And in between, he's walking with the trolley, and so many other things are falling down in the trolley. This is called lust. So people have understood it and they are applying it. And no matter how much you shop, the advertisement will tell you that you are not a man. So you need to become a man, so that you need to go and buy another t-shirt. You need to buy another deodorant. They will tell you that your hair is not good, your body is not good, your this is not good, you are wrong. Everybody around you is wrong until you go shopping. Do you understand this point? That is called advertisement. I was reading an analysis. We see more advertisements in one day than what our great-grandfathers saw in a lifetime. How many of you have walked on the New York's Times Square? Have you seen the flashes on the buildings? You will go crazy. Even if you are a sane man, you will become insane after walking for 2 hours on that road. And if you walk with $1,000, you will become a poor man. Even if you don't want to do anything, you will be forced to do something. Do you agree to this? This is called Dhyato Vishyams. How powerful. Even a person who is intelligent, who is a student of Bhagavad Gita, one of the roaming senses of such a person can take away a man to destruction. Just like a whirl of or a breeze of wind can take away a boat somewhere. Similarly, one of the wandering senses can lead to destruction. So therefore, sense objects, when contemplated upon, leads to attachment. Attachment, when it increases, leads to lust. Lust, when fulfilled or unfulfilled. I have to change this. Whether you fulfill or unfulfill, it is always leading to anger. Now, what is the next thing which happens? Repeat with me. 2.63. Krodhat bhavati sammoha. Sammohat smriti vibhramaha. Smriti bhramshad buddhinasho. Buddhinashat pranashyati. Now, Krishna is telling you what happens next. You have become angry because you are a lusty fellow. You have become angry. So from anger arises complete delusion. And from delusion is bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. What this means? From anger, you become deluded. You're not able to understand what is reality and what is not the reality. Delusion. And because of that delusion, your memory loss will happen. Memory loss means you forget the purpose of your life. Jivera Swarup Bhai Krishnera Nityadar. The purpose of life is to become a loving servant of Krishna. But because of this lust, the bewilderment has happened and the delusion has happened. And because of that delusion, I have forgotten my memory. Arjuna says after hearing the Bhagavad Gita, Nashto moha smritir labdha. Karishye vachanam tava. Arjuna says, my illusion has been destroyed and I have got back my memory. Same thing here. Because of illusion, you are losing your memory. And therefore, not karishye vachanam tava. Oh Krishna, I will do anything which you have not said. That is the situation. And then what happens? When memory is destroyed, when you forget who you are, then your intelligence is destroyed. Intelligence means the ability to differentiate what is right and what is wrong. And then you are ready to do crime, you are ready to do rape, you are ready to do terrorism, you are ready to do murder, theft, dacoity, everything. So this is the flow chart of falling down. You see this diagram first. Sense object leads to attachment, attachment leads to lust, lust leads to anger, and then anger leads to bewilderment, bewilderment leads to intelligence loss. Intelligence loss means social crime, suicide, rapes, terrorism, everything. So in these 2 shlokas only, Krishna has explained how simply by doing sinful activities and how you do sinful activities, you will get so much suffering. And everything starts from where? Dhyayato. Meditation on sense objects. So one of the easiest way to be free from sinful life is to stop the meditation on sense objects. As soon as you start meditating on the sense object, disengage from there. And if you are not spiritually potent to do that, then make a habit of meditating on the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of Krishna. That is the strongest meditation. Not by wearing a saffron cloth, or not by fasting, or not by going to Himalayas, can one become a sense-controlled person. But simply by becoming a sincere devotee of Krishna, everybody can become a sense-controlled person. So therefore, knowledge means sense control. If you cannot control your senses, you may have a lot of information with you, but you cannot have knowledge with you. Jnana vijnana sahitam. Knowledge means that which you have realized. So therefore, what are the symptoms of knowledge? Good character and sense control. If you do not have a good character, and if your senses are not in your control, you're a rascal, basically. I don't care, or we don't care what PhD degrees you have, which CEO you are, we don't care. But if you have good character and if your senses are controlled, your heart is perceptible to the message of Bhagavad Gita. And you are fit to be called as a Swami or a Goswami. I'm not talking about the Goswami on the television. His urge to speak is not under control. Kuch bhi bolta hai yaar. I don't know why they call themselves Goswami. This brings me to a point, who is fit to become a guru? Many people call themselves guru. Vacho vegam manasah krodha vegam jihva vegam udaropastha vegam etan vegan yuvishahet dhira sarvam apimam prithvim sashishyat. One who has controlled the urge to speak, one who has controlled the demands of the mind, and one who has controlled the urges of anger, and one who has controlled the urge of his tongue. And because the tongue, belly, and genitals are in one straight line, so anybody who controls the urge to eat automatically controls their belly and genitals. So one who has these 6 urges under control is qualified to walk over this planet and make disciples. Sarvam apimam prithvim sashishyat. So next time when you're trying to surrender to some guru, check for these 6 qualifications. If you do not know what is gold, you will be cheated. First, you should know what is gold. So therefore, before making a guru, by listening the YouTube lectures, these days people decide who their guru will be via YouTube. You know, I have some free time, 2 hours. I'll see some videos. This is my guru. First, you study the Bhagavad Gita and understand the qualification of the guru. Krishna is the only guru. And only that person who is sincerely, seriously, without any adulteration, presenting the message of Krishna as it is qualified to be a guru. Kiva vipra kiva nyashi shudra kene noy jai Krishna tattva vetta sei guru hoy. So similarly, this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita. One should not see who is a highly exalted Brahmana, Vipra, expert in Vedas. One should not see who is a great sannyasi. Neither one should see who is a Shudra. Anybody who knows the science of Krishna, means the science of Bhagavad Gita, should be accepted as Guru. And when I say Bhagavad Gita, I mean Bhagavad Gita as it is. Not the Bhagavad Gita. There is a Gita called My Gita. There is a Gita called Living Gita. There is a Gita called this Gita, that Gita. They have killed Krishna in their Gitas, actually, if you read that. Murdered. Did you know that there are 495 versions of Gita in the market? But none of them present the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Everybody has derived their own personal motivations. Some people did politics in the name of Bhagavad Gita. Some great so-called politicians of India, they said Bhagavad Gita teaches ahimsa. And they made the whole formula of the whatever agenda they had based on Bhagavad Gita, saying that we have to follow this formula of non-violence because Bhagavad Gita tells to be non-violent. Bhagavad Gita tells you to become a devotee of Krishna. Why didn't you promote that? You promoted something else. So it's very difficult until you approach a devotee of Krishna. It's very difficult to get knowledge. And knowledge means good character and sense control. Okay? Now, nastir buddhir ayuktasya na cha yuktasya bhavana na cha bhava yatah shantir ashantasya kutah sukham. 2.66. One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can neither have transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, and without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? So it is very important to have God or Krishna in the center of your life, without which you cannot have transcendental intelligence. Without that, you will not have a steady mind. Without that, you will not have peace. And without peace, there is no question of happiness. Okay? And then, Prabhuji, I'm trying to become a devotee of Krishna, but what if I fail? What if due to worldly mindedness for 1 year or for 6 months, I practice this, but then I again give up this path, and due to bad association, I go somewhere else? Krishna clears this doubt also. Neha bhikramana shosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. He says, in this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution. If you are doing your master's and if you do not write your thesis, all that which you did in the last 1.5 years is wasted. Do you agree? Correct, no? If you are doing your PhD for 5 years, 4 years you did everything nice, but the last year you just became lazy. And 4 years is wasted. Correct? That is called material life. But that is not valid with spiritual life. If you make 10% advancement in Krishna consciousness, and if you die, then in your next life you start from 11%. Therefore, Krishna says, in this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution. You may be a PhD in this life, but in your next life, you have to start with ABCD. That is not valid for Bhakti. And a little advancement on this path can protect you from the most dangerous type of fear. What is the most dangerous type of fear? Degradation into the lower species of life after getting the human species is the greatest fear. I have acted like a dog all my life. I have been a lusty fellow and I've acted like a dog. Those people who are too lusty, they'll become dogs in their next life. And a dog is a very, these days people like to hug dogs and sleep with the dogs. But the Shastra says dog is not a very nice animal. A dog is so idiot and so sinful that even when it sees a tulsi plant or a shivling, it urinates on it. Have you seen the dog doing it? You have opened your slippers outside. You can see what the dog may be doing on your slippers. So only sinful people become dogs. One can be the Prime Minister of India, but if they are lusty, they'll become dogs in their next life. This is the biggest fear. But anybody who's chanting Hare Krishna and anybody who's trying to sincerely follow the Bhagavad Gita, if due to some accident they go on a wrong path again, Krishna will ensure that at least in their next life, they'll again get a human birth, either in an aristocratic family or in a pure Brahminical family, or if they are really, really serious, they'll take birth in the family of devotees. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, sloka number 37 to 43, you can read as homework today, where Krishna says, Arjuna asks this question, what if I do not finish my Krishna consciousness? Then Krishna says, don't worry. Those who are chanting Hare Krishna and at the same time they have many material desires, you know what happens to them? They go to the higher planetary systems and they become demigods. Indra, Chandra, Varuna, etc. And then for lakhs of years, they will enjoy life where pious living entities stay in the Jan Lok, Tap Lok, Mahar Lok, Brahma Lok. And when their pious credits are over, Kshine Punya Tam Martyalokam Tam Vishanti, then they will again come back to earth. And then, because of the power of the devotional service which they had executed, they'll take birth either in a pure Brahminical family, where beef will not be stuffed into their mouth as soon as they are born, or else they'll take birth in an aristocratic family where the anxiety for roti, kapda and makan will not be there. And in both the families, they will get a very good chance to again connect with the Bhagavad Gita and chant Hare Krishna. And Krishna says, one who is very fortunate, he takes birth in the family of transcendentalists or devotees. So right from 2 years of age, the parents will give mala in their hand, chant Hare Krishna. So the small children will be chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So before I came, I was thinking about this verse of Bhagavad Gita when I saw the little girl doing kirtan. How many of you saw the little girl kirtan today? That is an example that this little girl in her previous life has done strong devotional service. That's why at such a young age, she has achieved a family where in that family, she has been induced to chant Hare Krishna. Neha Vikrama Nasosti Prattavayo na vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayato mahito bhaya. It will not only save you from the most dangerous type of fear, but there is no loss or diminution in this path. That means bhakti is an eternal bank account. You don't lose anything. Don't you feel happy when you hear this? Whatever I'm doing is safe and I'm always protected by Krishna. Therefore, devotees early in the morning, in every ISKCON temple, they pray. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye, mama janmane janmaneshware, bhavatad bhaktir ahaituki tvai. This is the prayer which devotees do, that I don't want money. Na dhanam. I don't want fan followers. Na janam, na sundarim. I do not want a very beautiful wife or a very beautiful husband. Kavitam va jagadisha kamaye. Neither I want to become famous all over the world as a great scholar or as a great poet or as a great influencer. Then what do you want? Mama janmani janmanishware. I don't even want liberation. Oh my dear Lord, if you think I need to take many births, please keep giving me many births. But mama janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhaktir ahaituki tvai. In whichever birth you give me, kindly give me the association of your devotees. And kindly give me a chance where I can practice chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. This is the main reason why devotees of Krishna are fearless. They are not afraid. Narayana para sarve na kutaschana bibhyati swarga apavarga narkeshu apitulyartha darshanam. Those who are devotees of Krishna, Narayan, those who are dependent on him, for them, Swarga, Apavarga, Narkeshu. You send them to higher planetary systems, you keep them on the earthly planetary systems, or you send them to the lower planetary systems. Apitulyartha darshanam. For them, everything is the same. Narayana para sarve na kutascha nabhipati swarga apavarga narkeshu apitulyartha darshanam. A devotee of Krishna, you send him to hell, he will chant Hare Krishna. You send him to higher planetary systems, he'll chant Hare Krishna. You send him to the middle planetary systems, he'll chant Hare Krishna. You send him back to Godhead, he'll chant Hare Krishna. You send him to some hell, suppose there is a hell called Kumbhi Park. You send him to hell, he'll open ISKCON Kumbhi Park. There this Gita course will start. So as long as a devotee has an opportunity to execute the order of Krishna, he is fearless. So the order of Krishna, which Krishna has given, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. Abandon all varieties of religions and just surrender unto me. This is the order. And as long as I am convinced and I am remembering this order in my heart, I will be fearless. Especially when I read this verse, Neha Bhikramana Sosti Prattavayana Vidyate. Death cannot harm me. So root cause of all suffering is attachment to temporary things. We saw the attachment to temporary things is the cause of suffering. Attitude of comparison is the cause of suffering. Doing sinful activities is the cause of suffering. And all this starts with the illusion of thinking that I am this body. So if amongst all the causes, if you have to zero into one cause, which is the main cause of suffering, this is the cause of suffering. Thinking that I am this body and being attached to this temporary body is the main cause of suffering. And this is the entire session compiled into one point. Spiritual life begins when this illusion is over. As soon as you realize that I'm not this body, not just theoretically, but actually you start practicing it in your life, your spiritual life has begun. But if you do not realize this one single point, that I'm not the body, I'm the spirit soul, no matter what you are doing, you are in illusion. So practical tip of the day, which can make your life happy if you try to implement it. This is the Swadharma Acharanam Shaktiya verse. Perform your own duty, work up to your maximum capacity. Dilip Prabhu, beats. Japmalas will start distributing. Perform your own duty, work up to your maximum capacity. Don't aspire to do others' duty. Be satisfied with whatever result you have achieved. Duty is meant for the satisfaction of mind. Please listen to this. Duty is meant for the satisfaction of the mind, not to prove anything to this world. So this is the practical tip of the day. And this is not my opinion, your opinion. This is the opinion of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Homework number 2. Learn the Sloka 2.40 and chant one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day. How many of you are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day? At least one round. I'm very, very grateful to all of you. Simply by doing this, simply by seeing you doing this, I'm very, very pleased. I'm very, very happy. And I'm praying for all of you who are chanting from the core of my heart. I'm praying to Srila Prabhupada to bestow his causeless mercy upon all of you. And those who are not chanting, for them I'm praying for Srila Prabhupada to bestow his causeless mercy upon you so that you can start chanting. As I've already explained to you, every Sunday we meet 11:30 to 1:30. So much discussion happens. The only reason why this discussion is happening is to convince you to chant Hare Krishna. If you tell me that, Prabhuji, I'm convinced, we'll not have these much long classes. We'll just talk for 5 minutes and do kirtan. That is better. So just to convince you, I'm traveling 20, I've ended the class. So just to convince you, I'm traveling more than 20 kilometers coming here. I had a class in the morning. I had a class last evening. It's a difficult life for me also, especially traveling so much. I wish I had that Narad Muni potency. Say, chant the name of Krishna, go from one place to another place. In that way, I would have been able to preach more and touch more people. But anyways, whatever Krishna wants. Just be chanting Hare Krishna. That is the, you can say, the fees which we are asking from you. Our fees is that you start chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And understand the fact that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and your primary aim of life is to serve Him. Do not become a so-called selfless person thinking that I have to serve the society, I have to serve my body, I have to serve my family, I have to serve this planet at the cost of chanting Hare Krishna. That is not selflessness, that is called extended selfishness. So don't cheat yourself, don't kill your soul. Always chant Hare Krishna and always remember the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of Krishna. So again, revision: Krite dhyayato Vishnum tretayam yajito makhaihi dwapare paricharyayam kalau tadhari kirtanar. Whatever result was obtained in Satyuga by meditating on Vishnu, in Treta Yuga by performing sacrifices, and in Dwapar Yuga by serving the Lord's lotus feet, can be obtained in Kali Yuga by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Iti Shodashakam Nama Kalikal Mashanashanam Natah Parataropaya Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. These 16 names, composed of 32 syllables, are the only means to counteract the evil effects of Kali Yuga. In all the Vedas, it is seen that to cross the ocean of nescience, there is no alternative to chanting of the holy name. So I request all of you to get your Japmala so that we can start chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. After this chanting session, please feel free to approach me if you have any questions. The verse 2.40. Yeah. That is, in Bhagavatam, there are cantos also. So, first number means canto, second number means chapter, third number means verse number. In Bhagavatam, there are only 18,000 shlokas. In Gita, there is only 700, but in Bhagavatam, only 18,000. So, first finish Gita. But since I'm talking to you, I'm an air conditioner of Srimad Bhagavatam, not just a fan of Bhagavatam. I will just speak Bhagavatam. So you don't start studying Bhagavatam, you just take the inputs which I give from Bhagavatam, but you should study the Bhagavad Gita primarily. First finish the Bhagavad Gita reading 2 times at least. Then you come to me, I will instruct you how to start reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Everybody has the Japmala? Just like a soldier always carries a gun because he does not know when he would have to use it. Similarly, those people who are afraid of Maya, because Maya is Krishna Shakti, and nobody can defeat Krishna Shakti except Krishna. So those people who are sincere devotees of Krishna should always carry their Japmala with them, because they don't know when they'll have to use it. Maya can come in any form, correct, no? So I will request all of you to have these bead bags and carry your Japmalas with you all the time. And chant Hare Krishna whenever you get time. Even in your bathroom, you should chant Hare Krishna. Even while cleaning the vessels, you should chant Hare Krishna. Because you don't know when death will come. And whenever death comes, we should be Krishna conscious. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. So now we will chant in a particular rhythm. It is called as lay. If you have a lay or a rhythm, one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra takes somewhere between 6 to 7 minutes. So you can chant 16 rounds in less than 2 hours if you have that focus. But my request is that you chant only 1 or 2 rounds. If you can chant more, it is good, but minimum 1 or 2 rounds you chant every day. If you have some bad habit which you are struggling with, if you can chant 4 rounds, you can give up any bad habit of this world. That is the experience which I have heard from devotees. So let's chant And while this chanting is going on, I will only think of Krishna. And my only absorption will be to hear this sound vibration. I don't need my mind right now. I only need my tongue and I only need my ear. And if my mind goes somewhere, I'll bring my mind again, I'll focus on hearing. This is called mantra meditation. And in Kali Yuga, there is no higher form of meditation other than chanting the holy names of the Lord. Let's get into the lay of chanting Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.